In this video, we're going to go over database administration. Specifically, we're going to look at the next two languages of SQL, which are the data control language and the transaction control language. So the data control language primarily focuses on allowing or preventing certain people from having access to objects in a specific database. And this is via grant, revoke, and deny commands. So the first thing in the data control language that we're going to talk about is creating schemas. So to add a new database to the database management system, we'd use one of the two following syntax. We say create schema and then the database name, or create database and the database name. In MySQL, this is synonymous. In other environments such as SQL Server, which is Microsoft's version of a database, the database and the schema are not the exact same thing. We can optionally include if not exists before the name of the database, and if we do, and we run this query and the database already exists, it will fail safely. Otherwise, if we don't include it and the database already exists, it will throw an error saying that the database already exists. So if I want to add a new database to the database management system named Creighton, I'd say create database if not exists, and then Creighton. All right, to demonstrate creating new databases, what I'm going to use is MySQL Workbench, so you can more easily see these databases. So I have a production environment. I'm going to connect to this. So the MySQL user interface allows you to do similar queries as what you've done on the server. However, this is a local application, not on the web, that someone can download on their machine to connect directly to a database as long as they have network access. So I'm going to show you that we can create a database using MySQL Workbench. So the first one is create a database if not exists Creighton. So I'm going to go ahead and run this query. If I refresh the list of databases here on the left and scroll down, we will see that there is a Creighton database that has been created, and there are no tables currently in this database. The next part of the data control language that we're going to do is creating new user, and this allows us to add new users to the database using the following syntax. We say create user, and then the username, so DB user for example, and then identified by the user password, so DB password as you can see here. So for example, if I wanted to add a new user named Billy Blue with the password of Jay's Rock, I say create user, and then I specify the username, so Billy Blue, identified by, and then specify the password, so in this case Jay's Rock. All right, going back to the MySQL Workbench interface, I'm going to go ahead and paste this query to be able to create this new user. So I'm going to go ahead and run it, and as you can see, it says it successfully created the user Billy Blue. And if we had admin access, you could come over here and click users and privileges, and it would show you that the new user Billy Blue has been created, and it gives their password in an encrypted string so that you can't actually see it. So now I want you to do this learning activity. Now you're not going to actually be able to execute these queries because you do not have privileges to create new databases, nor do you have privileges to create new users. But what I want you to do is write the queries that would actually create a new database named business, and that would actually create a new user named Blues with the password of the bomb. All right, welcome back. So this first query asks us to create a new schema. So I'm going to say create schema, and the schema's name is going to be business. So I'm going to go ahead and run this query, and it says it's successfully executed. If I come over here and click refresh, we now see a business schema has been included. All right, this next query asks us to create a new user, Blues, with the password of the bomb. So I'm going to say create user, Blues, identified by the password, which is the bomb in single quotes. I'll go ahead and run this query, and then I'll go over to this user and privileges panel. And if I refresh this list, we can see that a new user has been added of Blues.